Hey guys, so much astrology happening this week. We have so much to talk about. We have three primary things that we are looking at in the energy today. Number one, this is sort of like a new concept that we need to talk about. We have Mars and the moon in a mutual reception. This is something that only actually has an opportunity to happen every couple of years whenever Mars happens to be transiting the sign of Cancer. So therefore, when the moon is transiting the signs ruled by Mars, Aries, Scorpio, this creates a blending of energy, a mutual fusion of energy going on between the moon and Mars. And we are in that period right now because we have Mars transiting the sign of Cancer. So a couple times a month over the course of this next 2 months while Mars is transiting the sign of Cancer, we have these opportunities for this mutual reception energy going on between Mars, the masculine, the warrior, and the moon, the mother, the womb. So we really need to talk about this today. What themes could be coming up as a result of this? We have this energy prominent right now as the moon is transiting the sign of Aries right now. And not only that, do we have this mutual reception going on via the moon and Mars being in each other's signs, but they're also forming a cardinal square together to each other today. So we need to talk about that and what is likely to sort of maybe spark up as a result of all of this moon Mars dynamism that we have going on. We also are in this 9-day window period right now of this karmic release, Saturn in Pisces, South Node in Scorpio, forming this trine together exact to the degree. And we also have Mercury Venus mutual reception going on. We've got two mutual receptions happening in the energy today and tomorrow, building into our double new moon in Aries, solar eclipse, very rare big business astrology we have going on right now, you guys. Endings and beginnings, serious transitions. Let's get into the chart of the day. Let's look at how this energy is coming together for us as we are building into this very powerful Aries new moon that is coming up with the eclipse, all of this. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, but let's see how things are coming together for us today in the context of this energy presenting and what it might mean for us in our experience on the ground today. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Tuesday, April 18th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day. We are narrating the shift of the ages on this channel. Every day we are looking at the energy that is coming through on an astrological perspective. If you stick around with me, I am also reading tarot cards at the end of this report as well to get a differentiated energetic perspective. But essentially what we're doing is we are tracking the progression of energetic events, signatures, frequencies, incoming, circumstances and situations that are unfolding that are playing an active role in transitioning us collectively into this incoming paradigm, this new age, this age of Aquarius. So we are looking at things in that perspective, in that regards, in terms of the way that these astrological aspects are playing out. And of course, you know, if you've been following my channel, you know I've been talking about we are in this period of very faded endings and beginnings, extreme transition, extreme transformation, letting go, moving on, walking away, end of an era type of energy, simultaneously radical rebirth. These cascading endings and beginnings sort of happening in congruence or simultaneously to each other, you know, really coming to the end of one phase of life, one chapter of experience, but simultaneously like the next one sort of unfolding right in front of our eyes as we're going through that process. So that's where we're at. That's what's going on. We are in a very rare lunar cycle right now as well. We are culminating our first new moon in Aries cycle, and we are about to begin our second new moon in Aries cycle. This is really extreme, like I said, sort of extreme radical rebirth. This is a time of very fresh new beginnings. This is also, you know, we're beginning a 1.5 year long new eclipse cycle as well that is in the Libra and Aries axis in terms of where these eclipses are going to be happening. This is a new energy. We've been in the Taurus Scorpio eclipses over this past 1.5 years or so. So this is a change. This is moving us forwards as well. Of course, this is the axis, the Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, Libra being the 7th sign of the zodiac, ourselves and others. Okay, so new beginnings, in the realms specifically of how we are relating to ourselves and others going forward over this next year and a half. But the rest of the energy as it's coming through gives us the details and tells us, why these changes are happening and the changes that they're producing within us and the outcomes of those changes in terms of, how we are gearing and orienting our energy and our desires and our preferences and stuff like that going forward. This is just a very transformational period of time, and don't be surprised if you feel yourself or find yourself shifting or changing. Maybe a habit that has been a part of your life for a very long period of time, all of a sudden you're feeling like, you know what, like I don't really know that I want to do this anymore. Maybe just a way that you have defined yourself or how you've perceived yourself or how others have perceived you, or things that you have really enjoyed or that have been like sort of what you've had a taste for, what you've had a preference for. I've been saying like these changing tastes and preferences coming through. And so you may really find yourself at this point in time deciding, I just am not really interested in, or I don't really have a taste for, or I'm not really attracted to this specific thing that maybe I've defined myself by, sort of like up until this point in time. Like these are the types of subtle shifts and transitions and changes that can be going on, as well as just these more honestly like massive overhauls in terms of where we're putting our energy, what we're creating, how we want to use our time and energy going forward, what makes us feel comfortable, what we, like I said, like what we love, what we value, what we desire. So major transformations going on, trying to actually, we're turning back into a more authentic version of ourselves, okay? So you may also find that like anywhere where you were trying to maintain a facade or where you were trying to play a role or present an image in order to be perceived a certain type of way, you may be coming to find right now as well that you like don't have a desire or a drive to engage in that anymore because it's no longer a reflection of like the true nature of your heart. Okay, so these are essentially like the type of things that we're talking about, the way that these things may be sort of coming up and presenting themselves like in our own internal lives or in our day-to-day experience. But we've got a lot happening, you guys. Let's break it down a little bit more. This big week of astrology that we are in, with the second consecutive new moon in Aries, with the solar eclipse, of course, it's a time of fresh starts, new beginnings. I would not say, I don't think, even though we are in the Aries new moon, which is, a lot of times about just like pulling the trigger and going for it, because of the nature of the eclipse right now, I think that kind of like there's just such a highly fated, destined degree of, divine orchestration that is playing out at this point in time. I think that, it may be in our best interest to not be like the active initiator of things in this energy unless we're put in a position where we have no choice. It may be best to sort of like sit back and kind of like let things unfold around us over the course of this next couple days and as this eclipse energy plays out, just because things can get very wild during eclipses, and things that happen during eclipses play out over the course of the next 6 months, like between this eclipse season and the next eclipse season that we will have in the fall. And because of the just greater level of like fated, destined, hand of God type of stuff that has a tendency to play out when the nodes are being so activated, which of course the nodes of the moon are what give us our eclipses when we have new moons or full moons that are happening in a close conjunction to the nodes of the moon. This is when we have our eclipse seasons. And so, perhaps not actively initiating things, even though we're in an Aries new moon cycle, just because of the eclipse, maybe like more passively responding to the things that come to us, okay? Seeing what falls into place, seeing what falls into our lap, and then actively responding to it instead of using our energy to go out and like actively engage universe and things right now. We kind of want to see what universe serves up to us before we, place an order for what we want to go with it, okay? So I'm gonna just preface things and kind of like leave that one there as well. But okay, transition, change, dynamic endings and beginnings happening all at once. This is where we're at as we release ourselves and break free from karmic cycles of the past. This is another major like vibration that is incorporated in the endings and beginnings that are going on right now. And as I've said, if you've been following my channel, I've been talking about this 9-day window period that we are in right now, all about this karmic release that is brought to us as a result of this exact trine that we have playing out between Saturn in the sign of Pisces and the South Node in the sign of Scorpio. Saturn rules the past, time, karma. The South Node is also karma in the past, in the trine, in the facilitation together in these water signs. This is facilitating, this is universe helping us to emotionally, psychically, subconsciously detach from the forms and the structures and the frameworks of our pre-existing belief systems and like the emotional framework that sort of held our reality together in the past. Like, this is also something that is sort of being washed away right now so that we can release ourselves from anything that has been preventing our growth in this new direction. While Saturn is in the trine to the South Node in Scorpio, of course, the South Node and the North Node, right? The North Node is always opposite the South Node. So that means that there's a trine between Saturn and the South Node, but there's also a sextile between Saturn and the North Node, and Saturn lays foundation. So while we have this emotional release going on that is helping us to, again, detach from these emotional frameworks of the past that maybe had been stealing our power or preventing or blocking our authentic growth in any type of a way, this energy is simultaneously helping us to lay these new foundations to begin to build in alignment with this organic potential that we are also discovering within us. Why do I say that we are discovering this authentic potential within us simultaneously? Because we also have Uranus right now, the Great Awakener, ruling our transition into the age of Aquarius in the sign of Taurus, okay? The sign of the builder. The North Node, what I was just talking about, also in the sign of Taurus, the sign of the builder. We also have Mercury, the messenger planet, right now preparing to go retrograde the day after this new moon eclipse that we have coming up, in a conjunction to Uranus in the sign of Taurus. This is creating a mental awakening, okay, and in a very destined, right, divinely timed, divinely aligned way, with the South Node in the sign of Taurus too, conscious awakening to the truth of our authentic potential, the truth of our authentic purpose, the truth of our authentic value, what we can do with it, what we can create with it, what we can build with it to stabilize our external world, provide ourselves with beauty, abundance, comfort, security in some type of a way. All of these Taurus themes. We are simplifying things on one level, and we are also discovering our own ability to be resourceful and to be sustainable and to provide for ourselves, maybe in some ways that we had gotten detached from or forgotten about in the past, or never really learned or never had an opportunity to experience like even that dimension of ourselves. So we are awakening to who we really are and what we really have the capacity and the capabilities to do, and this simultaneously is helping us to release these emotional frameworks from the past that may have told us otherwise. So there's this mentalized awakening that is going on via this Mercury mind energy coming into the alignment with Uranus in the sign of Taurus, right? Where the North Node also is, which the North Node is, it's where we're going. It's the next phase of growth. It's where we're like being compulsively pulled towards. The North and the South nodes, this energy, when it's activated, it is quite harsh energy because there's just this urgency about it, right? There's like this compulsion towards it. And a lot of times, it causes things to happen in a way that just kind of maybe feels a bit out of control, because the South Node, this is karmic things, karmic lessons, right? And the North Node, this is what our soul is trying to grow towards. So when we have these eclipses that are going on, or just serious activations to the nodes, a lot of times things can get a little bit wild. They can feel a little bit out of control. They can feel, and they're gonna be life-changing, okay? These are sort of like the moments that define like the various eras of our lives. And so all of that being said, like, it's kind of all coming together at once right now, and the ultimate outcome, I feel like, of what this particular period of time is working towards is, like I've said, this karmic cleansing, this karmic detox, but also simultaneously this radical rebirth in alignment with our authentic truth. Now, we've also got to remember we have Pluto hanging out right now at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Pluto is going to be from 0 Aquarius squaring the new moon that's happening at 30 degrees of Aries. So this is bringing in, again, just like this super transformative nature to the energy that is coming in. It's really forcing us to look at where we have held ourselves back, what about our own self-perception has been keeping us out of our personal power, and what we need to do to transform that in order to overcome that, to like bust through that and to come back to a place of self-empowerment that is enabling us to go through these preference changes and recognize this truth of this inner power and this value, and, you know, become more in alignment with the truth of our purpose and activate destiny. Like, that is what this is all trying to do, you guys. In order for the age of Aquarius to happen, in order for it to take place, you know, as above, so below, is the way that the frequencies are affecting us are causing us to need to become our higher selves, okay? To go through this process of self-actualization, to conquer like our demons and our lower nature, and go through this internal alchemy, this hero's journey associated with the Chiron archetype that is also very relevant in the energy. And we've got to talk about Chiron too. I haven't even got to Chiron yet today. Chiron, the moon is going to be conjuncting Chiron today as well, forming the square to Mars, which we're going to get into. I haven't even gotten into this moon square Mars business yet, but essentially, like, everything that's happening now is happening to wake us up to the truth of our power, to the truth of our purpose, so that we can step into that power and begin like serving the role that universe has for us as we one by one like activate on a frequency-based level this new energy that is coming through and begin to live and embody that. And then, of course, you know, the whole Chiron thing, leading by example, you know, being the guiding light for others. It's like a ripple effect, like one by one, right? So that's what's happening. And now let's focus back in, let's narrow back in. I want to talk specifically about these things that we have playing out today. Like I said, we're in this 9-day window. We have this trine going on between Saturn and the South Node that is taking us through the 25th of April. We also have Mercury and Venus in mutual reception, while Mercury is in the conjunction to Uranus. I've already touched on this, changing our values, changing our priorities, our desires, what we want, what we love, our tastes, our preferences, new ideas about things coming through, radical new ideas about things, and the changes to how we are thinking going on, the awakening that's happening on a conscious level, thereby having the effect, you know, cause and effect. We're changing what we desire as well. It's like this change to our mind causing this change to our heart. And that is another like just dynamic of what is helping us move on, transition, and go through this process of new beginnings right now as well. It's so interesting because we have this dual mutual reception energy today and tomorrow, while the moon is transiting the sign of Aries. Now, this is interesting. The next thing that we need to talk, oh, and I should, I guess, say mutual reception. This is when we have two planets in each other's signs. So, for example, right now we have Mercury in the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus. We have Venus in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury. So they are both in the signs ruled by the other. This is blending their energy. And this is one reason why I'm saying, you know, this is a very likely period of time where we're deciding we don't like what we've always liked, just changing tastes, changing preferences. Because first of all, Venus and Gemini together has a tendency, or Venus and Mercury together has a tendency of doing that. But then when we also add in Mercury in the conjunction to Uranus, about to go retrograde as well, that this is just like calling for some extreme changes in you know, our thoughts and our desires. So we've got that, but then we've got this other very interesting dynamic, and this is this boiling point energy, okay? This is not something that we get all the time. It takes Mars about 2 years to transit the zodiac, and typically Mars is in a given sign for about 2 months. Now, we know that that's not always the case because Mars was just in the sign of Gemini for literally like 7 months, and so it can vary, but for the most part, Mars is generally about 2 months in a sign, which makes Mars transit, through the zodiac generally about 2 years long. And so it's usually only every 2 years or so that we have Mars transiting the sign of Cancer for generally about 2 months, okay? So every 2 years for about 2 months, we have a couple opportunities for those two. We have 2 opportunities for those 2 months when the moon is transiting the sign of Aries ruled by Mars, when the moon is transiting the sign of Scorpio ruled by Mars, to have a mutual reception going on. Again, mutual reception is when we have planets in each other's signs of rulership. So when the moon is in Aries ruled by Mars, when the moon is in Scorpio ruled by Mars, while Mars is in Cancer ruled by the moon, this gives us the moon-Mars mutual reception. Now again, like I said, this only happens, it can only happen for about 2 months every 2 years or so. So it's already sort of like not an energy that we get all the time, but this is a very defining energy of where we're at right now and of this new moon that's going to be coming up tomorrow, which is going to be unfolding throughout the course of the entire new moon cycle, because remember, the energy present at the new moon is what is growing and developing throughout the course of that entire cycle, with Mars in the sign of Cancer, the moon in the sign of Aries. This is the Mars mutual reception energy, and we are starting this energy today with Mars in the sign of Aries and the moon in the sign of Cancer, and Mars in the sign of Aries will actually be forming a square to moon in Cancer. So we've got a cardinal square going on between Mars and the moon while they are both in each other's signs in this mutual reception energy. Okay, what does this translate into? Let's think about it. Mars is the lord of the battlefield. Mars is the warrior, right? It's the masculine energy. Moon, this is the mother. This is the womb. This is the home. This is the family. This is our emotions and our internal environment. So when we have Mars warrior action, first of all, going on in a blend with the moon energy, I will tell you guys, this does create a situation where there can be a sense of like internal comfort or security that comes from fighting, that comes from conflict, that comes from being at war or at battle or defending something somehow. So people could be very primed for conflict, okay, in this energy over this next couple of days. This is also going to create some extreme emotional heat, passion, and intensity, because think about it, this is just like the emotions, our inner world sort of like on fire for something, for some reason, like will, courage, it could, like, there's multiple ways, of course, that this energy can manifest. Like, on one hand, this could create like extreme courage to defend the family and to defend children or to defend the loved ones. This could also create like extreme rage towards like a community or a mother or family members. Like, it could go a couple of different ways, but regardless of the way that it's expressing, this could also create some very like deep or painful depression or emotions that could be going on as well, because anger turned inward can create depression, and Mars and the moon together, like, that is anger turned inward. So there is a very stronger elevated level for like feeling depressed and stuff like that as well, if we are like really internalizing this energy. But generally, this is just a very dynamic and highly charged emotional energy, emotional period of time energy that we have coming through, aggressive and combative emotionally, and again, almost to the extent of getting a sense of comfort or security from that. Fiercely defensive, fiercely protective over home and family, but also perhaps lacking self-control in regards to things related to the home and the family. Extremely raw, it also like sexual, steamy, passionate nature to this energy, but willing to go to war for what you love or to attain your passion, attain your desire, get what you want. This is also energy that will like go after what it wants at sort of almost any cost. It's intensely creative, intensely fertile energy. Think about it, like the mother energy, right? The womb, okay? This energy of creation with Mars, the masculine dynamic, the masculine component of things, could be very just like primal and raw, like, or like sexual passionate energy for sure. And extreme creativity and fertility can also be represented by this, but it's generally just very strong will, fortitude to succeed in things. Like I said, winning, getting what we want, attaining our desires, our passions at almost any cost. Impulsive and defensive though, wanting to satisfy or satiate any type of like internal urge that may be gripping us on that like more emotional level and sort of like compelling us to act in this energy. Very likely to be a sense of generalized irritability that is coming through on this internal level, just like something not sitting right within us, or just like, feeling kind of irritability. I can't really think of another word to describe it, but just kind of like simmering under the surface of things. People may be really looking to blow off some steam, or flying off the handle, losing their temper, like I said, boiling point, like about to snap. It doesn't give a lot of self-control or self-restraint. This is passionate, forceful, aggressive, assertive expressions of energy and dominance and emotion. Okay, so not a great time. I'm going to say this again, and also having to do with the eclipse energy coming up. We're also, in the dark of the moon right now. Not a great time to discuss critical issues, especially that might be emotionally charged in some type of a way, because this is already such an emotionally charged energy. And we don't want to be taking this like impulsive, rash, spontaneous, like unplanned actions or initiating things. Like I said, we also have Mercury right now in the conjunction to Uranus, about to go retrograde. This is also telling us that things that are not thought out, if we're just acting on an impulse, there is a great possibility that we're gonna have to like backtrack and fix some things when Mercury goes retrograde the day after this eclipse that we've got coming up. So again, even though we are heading into this Aries new moon energy, which generally is the seed planting phase, we kind of want to let universe plant our seeds for us at this point in time. And again, sort of like sit back and just kind of see how the cards fall, okay? And not rush forward and try to like, overly assert our will, like force things to happen, because there could be a potential for, not only Mercury going retrograde, not only major adjustments that have to be made over this next couple of weeks, but also over this next 6 months. We don't want to take the plan that universe has for us and throw some free will Mars energy in there as a result of some extreme emotional reaction that perhaps like interferes with the plan that universe wants to play out for us at this period of time. So, definitely people are likely to be feeling, you guys, emotionally sensitive, emotionally touchy, defensive, this desire to release some steam, internal heat, pressure, or, on the higher octave of things, this could also be people just like very amped up to like do something or to make something happen, or again to protect or to defend something, like on the offense as well. Just like people really kind of like stirred up and ready to, it's about, what we hold inside, what we love, what we value, what we wish to protect. This is a protective and a defensive energy. So, that's sort of how this plays out. People are likely to be very protective and defensive over their own internal feelings and beliefs and opinions and stuff like that, and simultaneously people are likely to be very combative and active and like defensive or whatever over any type of like injustice or like wrongdoing they may perceive to be going on externally as well. So people willing to stand up and fight. Very feisty energy, not backing down, and just this extreme emotionally charged energy. That this particular dynamic element of energy and frequencies blended together, Moon, Mars, mutual reception, can translate into. So we've got this playing out today, we've got this playing out tomorrow, and as we head into this eclipse that we've got coming up. Now, specifically today, we have the moon in the mid-range degrees of the sign of Aries coming into a conjunction with Chiron, also forming a square to Mars, who is, of course, in the mutual reception with the moon right now as well. So more emotional potential for like emotional triggers going on today. This Chiron energy has a tendency of bringing up our vulnerabilities. This is also a very like raw, sensitive energy. People could be very emotionally triggered about things, and that could be what is causing this need to sort of like protect or defend our security or our safety in one way or another as well. This could also be really triggering themes of health or healing, wounding, traumas that we've experienced, money, worth, value, again, coming up with this, vulnerability, old wounds, childhood trauma. Definitely have a tendency to be like sort of just like collectively activated when we have Chiron and the moon, our emotions coming together. So this could be this Chiron energy coming up. This could be what is sort of irritating us emotionally as well and causing people to be a bit on the defensive also. Threats to personal security, people are likely to attack. Wounds, old wounds being triggered, people are likely to react. It's like, this is sort of like, even if you didn't do something to someone, if something that you did triggers them in a way that reminds them of something someone else did to them for the past, or like triggers one of these old wounds or something, like you might be on the receiving end of some type of I don't know, just like aggressive type of emotional behavior, somebody like on the defense over something like that. Like that could also be how people are reacting and responding in this energy. So there's a huge spike in this emotional tension, these passions that are just running so high, this very just dynamic emotional energy that is building and playing into this new moon eclipse energy that is coming the 19th into the 20th, depending really on where you are in the world. So lots of passion, you guys, lots of will, lots of like self-assertion also. And we are, again, I do not recommend spontaneously, impulsively, or rashly or hastily responding to things, taking action, forcing things, initiating things right now. I think that we are in some very just like, you know, things might be just a little bit fragile. And I think that, again, it's in our best interest to sort of just take a step back, play more of like an active observer role right now in our own reality, and let universe show us what needs to happen next instead of sort of us maybe deciding what needs to happen next. So we don't want to interfere. That's basically what I have to say for the astrology. I do want to talk about a bunch of Sabian symbols today. There's a lot coming through. I also want to say I find it to be very interesting. The new moon in Aries, April 18th, 2015, I feel like is connected to the new moon that we're having tomorrow. That new moon was at 29 degrees of Aries, 2015. The music of the spheres is the Sabian symbol of that degree. The music of the spheres is a significant degree to me because obviously I feel like it represents the cosmic blueprint unfolding. And that new moon in Aries 2015, April 18th of 2015, was a very significant new moon in Aries. I think that that particular year, honestly, kicked off a lot also of what we are seeing come to sort of a resolution or a culmination now in terms of these endings and beginnings. And now I find it very interesting that we have our second new moon in Aries happening at the very consecutive degree, 30 degrees of the sign of Aries, according to the Sabian symbol placement. Of course, 29 degrees is where the actual degree placement is. I'm reading the Sabian symbols, so I'm going to look at 30 degrees whenever we read Sabians. We round up a degree. So, you know, I'm going to call it 30 degrees, but it's just interesting to me because here we have a new moon in Aries that is happening, a double new moon in Aries is happening, this marking this whole like new beginning epic time that we are going through, and it's happening at the consecutive degree following this new moon that we had that was so significant back in 2015. So I don't know if you guys were following astrology back then or not. I definitely certainly was, and I know that that was a very significant year. energetically. And here we are at the new moon, the very rare second new moon in Aries that is at the degree exactly following that specific degree, which was the music of the spheres, which is talking about this cosmic blueprint. So I do think also there could be an element or a dimension of things that maybe began playing out in 2015, started in 2015, happened in 2015, that are somehow related to the endings and the beginnings that are being formed now. But anyways, that being said, I want to talk about the Sabian symbols. Like I said, I'm going to read a bunch of them just because I just feel like they're relevant today. The position of the sun, of course, 29 degrees of Aries. Like I said, the music of the spheres, this is the position of the sun today before our new moon tomorrow, which is when the sun and the moon align together at the same degree. They will be at that 30 or 29 degrees of Aries. So the cosmic blueprint, you guys, definitely being activated today in terms of what is playing out for us. The position of the earth and the position of Mercury are fitting together also symbolically, and I feel like they're interesting. The earth is at 29 Libra, mankind's vast enduring effort for knowledge transferable from generation to generation. This reminds me of Aquarius type of energy. And Mercury in the conjunction to Uranus, about to station retrograde, an old teacher fails to interest his students in traditional knowledge. So, we've got one symbol, the position of the earth, talking about like the vast enduring effort to transfer knowledge from one generation to another. And then the position of Mercury today, which is the mind, which is about communication, information, knowledge, talking about an old teacher fails to interest his students in traditional knowledge. So, how do we need to change the way that we're looking at things from the past to make it more relevant and to make it make more sense now? What truths and important traditional understandings from the past can help lay the groundwork for the future? How does the future also prove the past, and how does the past play into the things that are coming together now? So just very interesting the way that those two symbols are going together. We've got Venus at 9 Gemini, a quiver filled with arrows. We've got Mars at 13 Cancer, one hand slightly flexed with a very prominent thumb. Again, I feel like this is talking about people may be on the defensive or the offensive, or sort of a bit ready to attack, and maybe we need to sort of slow down a little bit, think before we speak, think before we act, not take those impulsive actions, maybe just sort of hold it together a little bit today, even though there may be some of these just deeply churning emotions going on. We also have the South Node at 5 degrees of Scorpio. A massive rocky shore resists the pounding of the sea, which again is talking about these turbulent emotions that we cannot allow to break us down in this energy. But we've got Saturn in the trine at a church bazaar. So really it's celebrating our faith, seeing our faith, allowing our faith to be a positive and tangible part of our ongoing daily experience is going to help us in this process. And we also have Uranus and Jupiter at similar degrees as well. Jupiter at 24 Aries, an open window and a net curtain blowing into a cornucopia, and Uranus at 18 Taurus, a woman airing an old bag through a sunny window. So things need to circulate. We need to stir things up. We need to get rid of the stagnancy. We need to move things around. We need to get some fresh air. We need to let the light in, okay? So if things are feeling dark, if we're feeling emotionally burdened, if we feel like, our emotions are controlling our actions and we're not in control of ourselves, maybe stepping back, getting some fresh air, getting some sunlight, maybe exercising a little bit or doing something to get our blood circulating, or, clearing our mind perhaps and allowing in a fresh viewpoint or a fresh perspective. This is the symbolic advice that is coming through in terms of how perhaps to navigate some of the more tricky dynamics of things that are also playing out for us in this energy today. So that's what I really wanted to say in terms of the symbolism as it's coming through as well. I want to talk about tarot cards for a minute. Also, I said that as always, we've got some tarot messages that we need to look at. These cards are talking about a new opportunity that is coming to us, although it may be a bit slower at this point in time than we perhaps would like, even though, like I said, we are in all of this like Aries energy. We may perceive that we're having a hard time making things happen, or that we are having a hard time making a choice or a decision or starting out on something. But like I said, if we feel that there is a resistance, it's not the time to force things. This is a time to stand back, to let the cards fall, to see what falls into our lap, and then to, make a responsible, informed decision about what we want to do with it. Saturn in the sextile to the north node while in the trine to the south node. Yes, a lot of things are going, a lot of things that have been weighing us down perhaps, but we really need to trust the process. We need to realize that for everything that we are losing, there are new partnerships, there are new opportunities, there are new people and situations that are coming to work with us, okay, that are helping to restore us to our sense of personal power, to put us back on our throne, and to help us to sort of rebuild in a way that is more reflective of our internal value that we are discovering within us at this point in time. Okay, let's talk about these cards as they're coming out. Why I'm saying this: first of all, the first card that we have coming out is the Eight of Cups in reverse, followed by the Ten of Wands. This combination of cards at this point in time, in the context of this astrology, is telling me that we may be at a point, again, these endings and beginnings, where we feel like if we don't walk away from something, if we don't turn our back on something, if we don't release ourselves from something, if we continue to remain attached to something that we know has come to the end, that we are realizing that the burden that it will become will be like immeasurable or like insurmountable, or that we just won't be able to continue moving forward. This is like the realization that if we continue doing what we're doing, if we continue to persist with this lack of internal fulfillment perhaps that we may be experiencing from emotionally from whatever situations that we're connected to, that it's just going to overwhelm us to a point where we like can't even go on anymore, and it's slowing our progress, okay, and it's keeping us out of our power. I feel like that's sort of like this emotional realization that we are coming to, while simultaneously it's just, this is the south node Saturn trine. Look at Saturn, Ten of Wands, this heavy burden, right? And this is this water sign energy, the Eight of Cups in reverse. The Eight of Cups upright is a card of detachment and walking away on an emotional level. In reverse, it's like questioning, if I don't walk away, what am I going to be carrying? If I don't release this emotional burden, what is it going to do to me? So this could be something that is coming up in this energy that we are definitely experiencing. Now, the next cards that we had coming out, we have the Three of Pentacles. This is a card of teamwork. This is partnership. This is working together. This is having a plan. This is working towards a goal, but not doing it alone, okay? This is new opportunities, new circumstances, situations, and partnerships that are supportive of the process of the creation of our goals going forward. The next cards that we had coming out on the back, or not the back, the next cards that we had coming out were the Queen of Pentacles and the Emperor, you guys. This is rediscovering our own personal power to stabilize our physical world around us and create abundance and create a sense of like true fulfillment and sort of just feeling like we are the conduit for our own success in the world, okay? This is what we get through putting down the burden, through walking away, through cutting the ties, through going through this karmic release right now. This karmic release that we are experiencing, what we are moving on from, the era that we are graduating from, the phase and the path that we are going towards next, is about the return of authenticity in the form of personal power that helps us to play a more consciously creative role in our experiences, in creating our reality. And this spread is telling us that there will be people, opportunities, situations coming through to support the creation of this new version of ourselves that is simultaneously being birthed while we are going through these endings. On the back of the deck, we have the Knight of Pentacles and we have the Two of Wands. Again, this may feel sort of like a painstakingly slow process as it's unfolding, but it's moving us forward. It's moving us towards the future. It is, like this guy's got the world in his hands, right? He may not know exactly where he wants to go yet or what he wants to do with it, but universe is likely to drop something in our lap over this week while we have this energy playing out that really sort of helps us choose the direction that we want to go in. This is this Pentacles energy. We got the Knight of Pentacles, we got the Queen of Pentacles, and we've got the Three of Pentacles. This Knight is delivering this opportunity to us that we will use to work towards restoring our sense of value, worth, and creative potential. So really nice message that we have coming out. You know, it's really all about this emotional release right now from whatever we've been attached to that has kept us from getting into alignment with like the highest, the most authentic version of ourselves, activating our destiny, and coming to a point where we feel like our life just has so much more purpose. Okay. And then don't forget, you know, by the laws of this reality, when we are operating from that frequency, from that place, okay, from that place of like truly in alignment with our destiny and our purpose, we are going to create and experience such a more fulfilling 3D world, 3D reality, 3D life for ourselves, because our relationships, our work situations, our friendships, our partnerships, every aspect of our life will be a reflection of that higher version of ourselves, which will lead to this ultimately like so much greater sense of like joy, happiness, fulfillment, all the beautiful things. So, you know, it's a win-win. It's not just universe who wins by us coming into our highest and best and helping in this transition of ages right now, but we also win in the experiences that we create for ourselves as a result of being in alignment and in a harmony with the frequency that can bring us what our heart and soul truly yearns for. Okay, so very nice, very nice. Let's grab one more card now. Synchronicity card, God, Spirit, Universe. What is a piece of advice, a piece of guidance that we need as we're going throughout this day today? I had no intention for this video to be so long. I was like, I am going to do a very quick video today. All I need to talk about is the Moon-Mars mutual reception, and somehow this turns into this long video. I don't know how it happens. I really try to cut down the length of these videos, and I just can't get the words out in a timely manner. So let's get a synchronicity card now. Here's one. Change your thoughts, you guys. If this hasn't been like a major theme of this report today, I don't know what is. Change your thoughts, and it shall prosper. And it shall prosper in the thing for which I sent it. I literally just said that. I literally just got done with this whole tarot reading talking about how much more fulfilling and happy and wonderful and blessed our life experiences will be when we are living in alignment with the thing for which I sent it for, with the truth of our divine purpose. Whatever seed you plant will come back to you in its fruit. If you plant a bitter seed, you will get a bitter fruit. Sweetness will beget sweetness. Likewise, flavor your thoughts and your speech with sweetness, that you may dwell in a sweet life. Holding to your present thoughts will bring you unhappiness. And I do honestly like all this energy. This is probably some of the best advice that we could get for today. So change your thoughts, you guys. That is a process that is ongoing right now as well. We are having that going on, these changing thoughts, these changing preferences, whether we are playing a conscious active role in that or not. It's just where we're at, what is happening in our current shift and transition of the ages. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. I hope you liked it. If you did like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Share it with your friends if you think that they would enjoy this type of astrology content as well. Leave me comments, you guys. Love your comments. Thank you so much for being here. I really love knowing how this energy is affecting you. If you're having experiences that fall into alignment with what this energy is expressing, definitely let me know in the comment section below. I've got some social media stuff, Facebook page, Facebook group, Instagram, in my description box below. Come back with me. I'm gonna do the video tomorrow, you guys. I'm gonna put out the new moon video because it depends on, you know, depending on time zones where you're at, because of when this is falling, it's between the 19th and the 20th. So I'm gonna put the new moon video out tomorrow. So I will be back tomorrow with the new moon video. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. This is some very dynamic astrology that we have playing out. So I'll be here and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a beautiful day, and until then, bye.